So this afternoon, we're joined by Mark Thompson from V2 Media, and he's here on a very nice Friday afternoon where I'm sure it'd be nice to be outside playing golf or just enjoying some cooler weather for the first time in seems like forever. But I'm glad that he's with us to tell us a bit about V2 Media and what they do and what they're about. And we had quite a nice chat just before this where we had some connections through the work he does for City Current too. And he's participating in the great event tomorrow where they wash the feet and put shoes on young children from around town, and sure you can tell us a bit more about that too. So welcome, Mark, and thanks for being here. And I'd love to hear what you're all about.
Thank you, Keith. I appreciate the opportunity to meet you and to again learn a little bit about your business and talk about what V2 Media does.
So tell us a little bit about V2 and where they got started and how you go about your business.
Well, I got started at the kitchen table. I had worked for an advertising agency for a number of years and left that agency in 1990 and started the precursor to V2 Media. We've rebranded a couple of different times to better fit what we're doing. We were a full service ad agency for a number of years, and then we sold our traditional advertising side and the media buying side about 12 years ago and rebranded.
Okay.
So now V2 focuses on corporate communications, both web driven, anything from marketing to presentations. We do a lot of work that is going to be seen at different conferences and conventions on big screens. Yeah. And as well, we do a lot of production that's going to be seen on these little bitty screens.
Devices, yes.
So it runs the gamut. But it's all about helping the client tell a story.
Yeah.
Helping the client in engaging that audience with that message. And right. It's primarily video. Yeah. is what we do. In the old days, we'd be a video production company, but it's different now. We're doing a lot of live streaming for different clients. We talked about City Current, for the past, until just recently, we were doing those as virtual events, and now they're hybrid. So we'll have, a couple of hundred folks in the room, whereas pre-pandemic, there would have been 400 in the room. Now we'll have 200 in the room and a virtual audience as well that'll come in. So we might have a total of, 300 or so that are able to access that presentation monthly.
The change in the business since just changing advertising generally, it's gone from large agencies to boutique type agencies and specialists in certain fields. It seems like a lot of it's broken up into these different segments now, but video has come as production video itself is sort of the medium of the moment. Is that right?
If you look at engagement numbers from any metric, video rules.
Yeah.
Whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, a little less so, particularly for the younger audience. But video just has a proven engagement factor that other media does not. People don't want to read anymore.
That's right. Yes. Is that across all demographics? Is that from older people and the younger obviously the TikTok generation or the Instagram generation? But I'm just curious about how video plays with the more traditional older audience that grew up on print and so on.
Well, the numbers are not as skewed, if you would.
Yeah.
The younger generation is certainly more engaged, but the numbers also show that even the older audience is more and more engaged with video content.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's interesting from like an attention span perspective. I mean, you kindly sent me a couple of intro videos to V2 prior to this, and you had a 4-minute version and you had a 60-second version. Is that sort of typical of what people do?
It is. Attention span, it's just a different time.
Yeah.
You know, attention span, what? Squirrel. Oh, look. Oh, there's something over there. Well, I'm sorry, what were we even talking about? So our productions tend to be shorter and shorter. Sometimes where in the past we might have done one longer piece, we'll produce several segments that are shorter that are intended to be grouped and presented to that target audience in batches.
Right.
Because the audience just is not going to watch a 10 or 12 minute marketing video.
Right. So in businesses, especially, I specialize in working with small trade type businesses, small local storefronts and things, rather than sort of the franchise operations and stuff. Is it moving towards video being the primary tool even at that level?
We're doing a lot with small businesses because I think those small businesses see the trend and see the value in doing something that is a cut above what you're going to do, with homemade.
Right.
And certainly there are a lot of things that you can do now solo that you couldn't do before.
Right.
I will absolutely, if a client wants to go in a different direction, or from our budget leads them in a different direction, we'll help guide them to what they need to be successful with that. Because to me, that's not a competition. It's if you're going to be successful and I help you, that's going to help both of us.
Yeah, I think like businesses would, in order to be, it's sort of a question here. In order to be successful, a business needs to be continually producing short 30-second videos about what's going on in the business and posting those things.
Yes.
And so they sort of have to get in the habit of doing that. But where you guys come in is the bigger view of branding the business and that look of the store, or that look of the professionalism, and then leave it for the business owner to do their own short snippets to promote their business on a regular basis. Is that right?
Well, certainly we've worked from that perspective. We've also helped smaller business clients create that series all at once.
Okay.
So let's go ahead. It is much more cost effective if we can knock out 10 or 12 of these that are going to last you for the next 3 to 6 months of content.
Yeah.
Now, some of that you can't do because of the nature of a topic, but certainly there's a lot of canned things you can do. We just did a series with Cry Like of 14 videos. That's going to last this agent almost a year. So, some of it can be repeated.
Right. It's like the seasonality of some businesses, you have the preparations for the holiday seasons and stuff like that. You can only do that as inventory or whatever becomes available to do that. But you can still make an overall brand for the store that they can use throughout the year.
Correct. You can do that. And again, we like to look at things as how much value can we get at one time?
Yeah.
Let's don't just shoot one piece. Let's plan several so that you can use those for multiple purposes.
Yes.
Maybe not just for social media, but sometimes you're going to use them in store. You're going to use them in presentations. How many places, how much bang for your buck can you get out of a shoot, out of a production, if you will.
Right. So this technology is continually evolving. I mean, you alluded to the homemade type videos, and it's like photography has had to pivot so considerably and to account for the fact that when I coach youth soccer, they in the times that we won a tournament, the parents would be there with the camera, and now that everybody's out there with a phone, vertical, of course, trying to get the whole team in, which just always blows my mind. And that's become like the standard. It's like whatever I shoot on my camera is a good photograph. Is the same applying to video, that people's expectations of quality is different?
Keith, it depends on a couple of different factors. Certainly, it depends on the client, but there is a base expectation of any client that we work with that they want to be represented well.
Yeah.
And some of those homemade pieces just don't do that.
Right.
Whether it's the audio, whether it's the shaky cam syndrome. And again, that gets back to if a client doesn't have the budget or needs some help, we'll help advise them on some things they can do to help make those pieces look better than they are now.
Right.
But we certainly see a lot of vertical video. And
I was thinking that video is like a website. The quality of the video, the quality of it is a representative of your business.
Yes.
And so you need to be professional about that, because it's the first thing people see. And if they see some cheesy homemade video, does that make your business a cheesy homemade store? And I'm sure you come across that quite a bit.
Yes, we have. particularly on the a small business side.
Yeah.
Even some larger companies that we've worked with just did not have a good representation on their website or their social media. And it's a discussion that every organization, every business, every nonprofit needs to have.
Right. So if somebody was coming to you to start the business, to start out with, what sort of process do they have to go through? I mean, do they come to you with a formative idea, or is it just, hey, I know we need to do a video?
Keith, it's all over the board.
Really?
Some clients, I call them prospects or suspects.
Suspects, yeah, suspects.
Might have, a bullet point storyboard, or they might have seen something that we've done and just in general say, look, our video that we're using now doesn't represent us like we want it to. Yeah. And we think you can help us get there.
Yeah. So does most of your business referral, or just do you market?
We get a lot of referral business. A lot of our referral business comes from within an organization. Yeah. So for a larger organization, we might be working with one department, and then someone in another department sees that, and we'll get an email, we'll get a call, because they're needing something that is of similar quality.
Right. Yeah. So people who are watching this, if they've seen some of your work, you obviously do a lot of conventions and trade shows and things like that. But you really work across all aspects of business, from the small business all the way through to these large pieces.
We do. And the way I look at that is certainly the larger businesses drive our business, but I'm a small business guy. Yeah. I enjoy engaging with other small businesses and understand, there's a difference in available budget, if you will, right? Often. Yeah. So, how can we maximize that? How can we work with you within your budget range, and help you grow your business? Yes. Yeah.
And as a business coach, one of the great things that comes out of it for me is getting people to realize what their business really is about today. And because a lot of them have owned it for a while and they've lost sort of sight of what their business is and where it's at. And it is identifying that with them and helping them realign themselves with why they got into the business in the first place.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. We've even talked some prospects out of doing a video.
Yeah.
When we started applying the reasoning behind, you know, what's the why?
Yeah.
And if there's not a good answer to that, then let's rethink it.
Yes.
Because we had one particular client that really was just wild about doing this video series. And until we came to the question of how are we going to measure the success of this? And they looked at each other and they looked at each other. And I said, let's figure that out first.
Yes. Yeah. It is interesting because, you know, it's something to jump on. You know, we'll do some videos. It's going to be great. We're going to post it, but there is no, as you say, you know, in Action Coach we talk a lot about testing and measuring. You know, you test if this works and you measure your success with it, and if it works, then great. We'll invest more in that area. But so many people will just go out and run an ad. They'll do a small campaign or whatever, and they have no way of actually finding out if it worked. There's no reference in there to how those people came to your store or if they came to your store.
Right. Did it bump your sales, or did it bump your referrals? Where there's some sort of a measure.
Yeah.
And in some of the pieces that we have, you know, the measure of success might be my boss liked it. Sometimes for a presentation or for a particular use, it might be that.
Yeah.
But typically, particularly with a small business, there needs to be a measure of some sort of engagement and success.
So you ask up front what their definition of success for the is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of our as part of our thought process before we begin a project is, you know, not just who our audience is, not just what our message is, but how are we going to measure this for success?
Yes. Yeah. That discovery process is going to be really interesting.
What's that?
The discovery process must be really interesting as you start talking to people about doing a video and why they want to do it. It must be a great series of questions to ask, and the responses must be all over the place.
It is. You know, and that's part of the process of getting to understand that project, that business, that directive.
Yeah.
What are we trying to achieve with this? Because sure, I can, you know, we can create some cool and it'll be fun. It'll look beautiful. And how'd it do?
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
So you mentioned in our pre-call, you mentioned a lot about some of the nonprofit work that you do.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, we're involved with an organization called City Current. We're one of the partner members, and one of our membership. Looking for the right word for it. One of our duties, if you will, and I don't, that didn't sound right, but let me change that. One of the things we get to do for the organization is engage with a nonprofit for every one of their events and help that nonprofit create a marketing video. And it's typically for a smaller nonprofit that may or may not have much of a video presence. It's you know, someone that sees a need and feet on the ground and is addressing that need. So how can we help them message that to potential sponsors, potential donors, potential volunteers, and help them get some traction with that organization from a marketing and awareness perspective. These videos are run at a breakfast event that typically will have an audience of anywhere from 200 to 400 business leaders.
Yeah.
And then they're going to email blast it out. And then the organization has that material to use anywhere they want, their social media, their website, any presentation purposes. So it's a great way for us as an organization to engage with nonprofits that are doing good work in Memphis.
Yeah.
And I love doing it.
Yeah.
I love engaging with these people whose hearts, minds, and efforts are in the right place.
Yeah.
So
there's a member of our BNI group, and she works for Alpha Omega, and I mean they do such terrific work, you know. And we were helping her. We were talking about honing a message.
Yes,
because they do so much good stuff, and it was like honing your message. And one of the things that came out of that was that 17% of the homeless in Memphis are veterans.
Yes.
And that's one of those things you want to say, there's your message right there.
Well, we did a piece, and it's dated, it may be a little dated now. We actually did a piece for Alpha Omega about 4 years ago.
Okay.
They were honored by Lipscomb Pitts,
Yeah.
which became City Current.
Yeah, that's correct.
Who's your BNI person?
Vicky Aslin.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, great organization.
Yeah.
We got to they were just beginning their equine therapy sessions, so we got to spend a day with them both at their organization facility, and then we also went out with a group of about 10 veterans to ride horses.
Yes. Yeah.
And what a great therapy connection that is for so many groups.
Yeah. It's just such a great organization, and you know they there's so much work that they have to do, and there's so much good work that they do. You know, you mentioned the other day that they have drivers who drive over 100 miles a day just driving veterans to appointments.
Yeah.
And you know, like we said before, there's so much good that goes on within the city that just never gets the publicity it should, because we're too focused on the latest crime somewhere around the city. And yet there's things like the City Current does, and like the event tomorrow that just flies under the radar because people don't think we should be interested in that.
Well, you know, unfortunately, the old mantra of the news is if it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, breaking news is always going to be bad news.
That's right. Yeah.
Whether it's, oh my gosh, a school bus ran a stop sign.
Yeah.
That could be breaking news.
Anything's breaking news. It's real. I talked to a lady a couple of weeks ago, and she was a reporter for one of the local stations, and she said, I just had to leave because I got tired of telling stories that weren't positive. And so she left and started an organization that highlights the good things that go on in the city. There's only so many times you can stand outside 201 Poplar, she told me. You know,
yes, I've got friends in that business, and that's the life you live.
Liz, yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? Yeah. So if people want to get in touch with V2, is the website you can go to, and
it is the letter V, the numeral 2, Memphis.com.
Yeah.
Certainly, if you want to contact me directly, it's Mark, M-A-R-K, at the letter V, the numeral 2, Memphis.com. And again, the way I approach that side of business is anything is worth a conversation.
Yeah.
If I can help you, great. Even with just some advice, or, you know, if it's not a good fit, as my good friend Andrew Gieselman would say, then, you know, we can part and stay friends.
Nice. And don't you find it fascinating that society, or our business side, has shifted so dramatically to conversations from selling?
Yes.
we're all having conversations about things. We're no longer the old stereotypical used car salespeople. We have conversations, and we build that relationship that eventually leads to business.
You know, Keith, I can't sell anyone a video.
Yeah.
If you have a need, or we can uncover a need, and we, you know, we're a good fit, then we can help you. But yeah, I certainly didn't go into this business to be a salesperson.
But yeah, that's exactly the same philosophy we have here with Action Coach. It's, I can't make you want to, I can't sell you coaching. You have to want to grow your business. You have to want to participate in a program that will help you achieve your original visions and goals. And if you're not willing to participate, then that's the failure. Was they saying that the only failure is the failure to participate?
Right.
And it's the same philosophy, and it's just I'm so pleased that so many places are shifting to this conversational selling program where you build those relationships. And just, you know, me talking to you, you know a bit more about me. You might meet somebody and say, hey, I know this guy. And same here. You know, I talk to a lot of business owners. If they're interested in video, I know somebody I can send them over here. It's just amazing.
You know, that's our BNI line.
Yeah.
Hey, I know a guy.
That's it. That's it. I know a guy. Or in these day and age, I know a person.
Yes.
I know so. But it's, yeah, exactly. You know, that's what they preach at BNI. And I was unaware of BNI until Action Coach is a big proponent of BNI worldwide. You know, Action Coach is a worldwide organization. They have like 1,000 offices in 80 countries. And so it's just, that's their thing, you know, join the BNI because that's a great way to get business from people.
Well, and it during the pandemic in particular, we were able to source connections in New York, for example, when the you know, under the guidelines, if I had taken a crew to New York, we were supposed to quarantine for 10 days. Well, that's not going to happen. So we had a keynote speaker that needed to be recorded in New York. So I worked remotely with the studio up there, and it happened that it was within 10 minutes of his house in Brooklyn, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah.
So we've had several opportunities to work through BNI with remote people that there's some accountability involved as well.
Cool. Yeah.
So
yeah, it is a great organization, and you know, it's all about how you participate. If you are a passive participant, you're not going to get the best out of the program. If you're an active participant, it pays off in dividends for it. And I'm really pleased to be part of it. So, well, great. I've taken up a lot of your time today, especially on a Friday afternoon. So thank you for that. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully we can connect and talk a bit further about video and about coaching.
Keith, thank you. Great to meet you. And I may see you at a Germantown Chamber event soon.
Yeah, I hope so. Thanks a lot, Mark. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Keith.
All right. Bye-bye.